Hey there, in this video I want to talk about periodization for mountain biking. So what does periodization mean? It's basically a term to man planning your training to peak or get optimal results for a time in the future, whether it's for racing or just a time of year. Nature mountain biking is a seasonal sport with more riding going on in the summer where most of the races and events occur. So basically, it means planning your workouts in a very specific way to get certain results. And basically, periodization gets broken down into a 1 year, usually yearly cycle called a macro cycle. And then each individual period within that, whether that is, I like to plan within 3 to 6 weeks typically, sometimes some mesocycles as they're called. So middle length cycles or phases. Can go up to 12 weeks, but I prefer usually 3 to 6 weeks is more typical range. And then within that, you do have smaller ones where whether it's week to week or workout to workout, you have micro cycles. So you got these microcycles, and you can adapt each of these to get certain responses in. So when you look at the whole year at a glance, especially with a lot of the data tracking apps like Training Peaks, Intervals.icu, which is one I use, and many other have this. They have what's called CTL or chronic training load. Sometimes it gets called fitness, which is not exactly accurate. And then there is also acute training load, which is workout to workout or short term, few days. What is your current training load and how much fatigue is that building up? So you'll see typically a graph that kind of looks like this through the year, because ultimately you're trying to peak at one point. Whether it's your A race or for a certain event or a certain trip in the year where you're in the best shape that you can be if everything goes as planned. And then you'll see also like from week to week, workout to workout, you'll see all these workouts that kind of affect your training volume, and that's as you adjust the acute training load, that adjusts the long-term chronic training load. So this is really just with when you're using heart rate or power on a smart trainer or power meter. But one issue with these is the data is not always representative of everything you're doing, because I also utilize strength training with my athletes quite religiously, because it's very beneficial to build athleticism, build robustness, and ultimately peak your performance, so you don't lose strength over the year and ultimately not able to handle the load on bike in the summer. So having said that, how do I build it? I utilize these, or just keeping it simple for strength and endurance, these type of phases where they're just descriptive of what you're working on in each phase. So usually how I start is I actually reverse engineer. So simple term for planning backwards. So you're going to plan backwards, have a set, whether it's an A race or is it just midsummer, if you're a lifestyle athlete where you want to be in best shape to do your 4 rides a week, do big rides and not break down and enjoy the time outside in nature and out with your riding friends. Using racing, trying to get you ready for the one big race so you can perform the best around that. So when it comes to the strength and endurance, these are the typical phases that I follow. So you're looking at, in both you have a transition or recovery phase where you're getting back into training after the season. So you may have had time off, or once the fall or winter hits and it's snow and you're not going to ride as much, you reduce volume, but you're going to get the transition phase is really just to build back into strength training. Get your body used to more strength training because you just came out of the in-season where there is a lower volume and intensity in the gym. Endurance, you might be recovering because you've spent a lot of time on the bike, a lot of energy has been expended, you just need to recover. And your fitness, and this is this phase right here, where your fitness is going to decrease slightly because your body needs that rest. Then moving forward, and this is where you start building. So like building strength and power. These are common ones in the gym through the winter. I use like building up the maximal force, being able to lift more weight, lift it faster, build more athleticism, be able to handle the fast-paced demands of mountain biking. As well, lower intensity aerobic base building. And this can be done a few different ways. I'm not going to go into that in this video because there's multiple theories out there and models that all work and have their different benefits depending on the population and the type of rider that you are. And then frequently you're seeing build phases. So in endurance, you're building volume and intensity specific to what the athlete will need, how much volume, how much intensity are they riding with, what's their discipline, what style of riding are they doing, as well as a specific or specialty phase, I see it called often. Like it's really focusing on the type of riding you're doing. So if you're a XC rider, I've had some XC racers I've worked with that really need to find either, they're not as earlier season races, B and C races, they're not as good up the punchy climbs as they need to be. So we have to make a plan for a few weeks later and when they have another race to try to increase that ability to handle the punchy climbs and not blow up through the race. So we tweak the program to meet that demand. And it really depends. There's so many different ways to specifically focus on different qualities to help improve your performance on the bike. And then, often muscular endurance phase in mountain bike in the gym really makes the muscles handle like the demands, especially of the ascending portion. Or if it is, you can do it along with like thinking about short punchy climbs that anaerobic demand needed, train the muscles specifically to be able to handle that, whether it's lactate clearing or any other physiological needs of the athletes. And then ultimately you go into a maintenance phase in strength in season. This is usually one of the longer ones where you're still strength training, but you're not doing the volume intensity you did in the winter. You're trying to maintain your strength so you don't have this big drop and a longer transition phase back in the fall or early winter to get back into strength training. So you don't have a kind of yo-yo effect with your strength and athleticism as your career progresses. So that's the very brief overview of periodization for mountain biking. It's a very complex topic, but I understand there's very specific things you do to change as you build a foundation in the gym, on the trainer, or doing cross training over the winter, and then build into more specific things to get you performing your best on the bike. As I said, I work with both lifestyle and competitive athletes that want to, again, as part of enjoying the sport as much as you can, whether that's going out for big epic rides and or finishing at the top of their category in mountain bike races. And so if you have any questions about this, feel free to reach out if you're interested in working through a planned periodized program that's going to boost your fitness, boost your ability on the bike, and it's too overwhelming to do it yourself. Please reach out. I coach athletes personally and through some semi-customized pre-built programs that are very beneficial for many athletes that see a lot of benefits and gain a lot from these programs. So thank you for watching this video.